From what I've heard, every single salary is going to drop next year. Salaries are just dropping next year in general. But I don't know how true that is. I only believe it to be true because everyone's not making, no one's making money in this game. No orgs. I think Sen and PaperX are maybe the only two teams that I know of directly. Actually, not even, I don't even know about PaperX. I think Sen is the only one that might like go above breaking even. I think everyone else has lost more money than they've made in Valorant. I don't know about Chinese teams. Sorry, I shouldn't say anything about China teams because I don't know. Not a fucking clue. I'm mainly speaking for Americas, honestly. In Americas, I think it's only Sun. G2, chat. I can't say a lot of this stuff. I don't think. Like it's appropriate for me to give financial information that I may or may not have heard about teams. Just know they're not making that much money. Like the entire premise of the business is to make a profit, and most orgs aren't making a profit out of Valorant teams, out of having Valorant teams. The content that they do, everything all put together on a yearly basis, they're losing more money than they're making because of how high the salaries are. Yeah, but it's cool to own a team. Okay, does the org keep the tournament winnings? Not all of them, 50% usually. Do you know why NA salaries were super inflated compared to other regions? I think orgs had this misconception that they would make more money than they ended up making, and then realized very quickly that they're losing a lot more than they thought they would. That is my honest opinion. It's been 5 years Valorant launch though. How could orgs still not realize it's an unprofitable business? Because franchising happened and everybody wanted a spot. And once they got a spot, they really wanted a team that competed and made internationals. So it was a reset on everything. Because with franchising, there was a lot promised in terms of like skin money. Like by skins, I mean like bundles and all of those things, you know? Like potential money that the orgs can make back. But it didn't end up being as much as they thought it would end up being. And then GG. They just lost a ton of money. They do make a lot from champs bundles if they do make it, which is why so much money was spent, because everyone wants to make champs. That's another reason why. Like if you make champs, you make a shit ton of money, right? Like actually, but even that barely scratches how much salary some of these players ended up making. Some of us players, I should say, back then and even now. So I think that's why I'm saying like salaries are going to drop now, because it's just not worth it just to have a chance at making champs and other events. It's the highest number you ever heard of for a salary. I can't say like any salary ever. What Ronaldo is making right now, isn't his net worth like 1.3 bill? Yay. Yeah, probably yeah. But I don't know for sure. PRX 1.6 mil with barely any roster changes, question mark? What are you talking about? 1.6 mil. Where did that number come from? What's 1.6 mil? Earnings? Orgs get 50% of that. Orgs get 50% of that. So your team has to perform really well. Say best case scenario, your team wins realistically like the year we had on Optic, or the year Fnatic had in 2023, or like just a successful year. Just an overall like outside looking in successful year. Like top placements overall. That's best case scenario in Valorant. You still don't end up a lot of the times with America's orgs making as much money as you end up losing because of how high the salaries were before, and still might currently be, at least this year. But next year it won't be like that, because players also get a cut of the whatever everything you guys are talking about. Bundles, champs winnings, prize pool for everything, and then on top of that champs bundles as well, or champs money in general. The orgs don't make all of that money. The players also make half the money, depending on the contract you have. You're telling me Fnatic is going in when they are sponsored by Red Bull? I mean, look at that lineup though. There are certain lineups that you just know are going to perform. You just know it. And Fnatic has proven it time and time again. PaperX is now doing it, but the problem is you can't be like Fnatic. Every team can be like Fnatic. Yet a lot of teams are putting the same amount of resources into their teams that Fnatic is, you know? So it's not sustainable, because you're essentially gambling that your team does well. If your team does well, great. It's not that big a loss, you know? But if your team doesn't do well, GG. You just lost a ton of money. Sen losing money? I think Sen is the only one like either breaking even or making money because of their marketing, which no other org really has. Sen is literally NA Valorant. That's just how it is. Started with Tyson and has continued forward. They have too many like good personalities. They have Tarek now. They've had Tarek. They had Tyson. So Sentinels is America's Valorant. So they made a ton of money off that. They were able to get hella sponsorships, I'm sure, off that, and make money in other ways to compensate for what their salaries they're putting into the team. They had Shroud as well, yeah, exactly. I mean, outside of Sen though, I don't think anyone else made money. I don't think anyone has profited besides Sen. Let's put it that way. How has G2 profited? I'm curious. And Valorant specifically, how? With their CS team, maybe. Why do orgs? Because you get a spot, and eventually things could get better, you know? like you could eventually end up making up those losses down the line, 5, 10, 15 years down the line, if the game adds more things, if Riot decides to add the gambling sponsors, for example, and those kinds of things. Other ways for orgs to also make money to keep sustaining the business, their own business. They're partners. They're Riot partners. I'm just saying they haven't profited as of yet, but that doesn't mean it's not worth it to be in the space. It's just not worth it to pay players as much as they have been paying them. That was my only argument. And that's why the salaries are most likely going to drop this coming year. They're paying league minimum right now, though. Who is? What are you talking about? Who is paying league minimum? These guys are naming EG, Furia, and Cloud9. What do you want me to say to that? Of course they are. What do you mean? That means all org owners are basically agreeing to drop salaries? I don't know. That I don't know. I'm not in their call. I have no idea. But that is the easiest way to drop expenses because everyone's losing money. What is the point of constantly overpaying players and then there's a good chance you're probably not going to make it anyway? There's a chance, but not a great chance unless you're a team like Fnatic or PaperX. Because form is such a big deal in this game. Metas change, all those things factor into it. If your players just aren't good the next year or something, then you've paid all this money for what, right? So salaries are something they can actually like adjust and make it more affordable for themselves and more realistic for themselves to stay in the space longer. It's very controllable for them. And if all orgs do it, then it's not like a player can go, well, this org is paying a ton of money, like I'm just gonna go there, you know? And there are some orgs that are gonna do that. Like some orgs are just gonna monopolize and be like, like we'll pay you 50k, we'll pay you 60, and then those players, if they choose to go there, then that's what happens. So it happens in football and every other sport. 60k a month is nothing. Damn, hell yeah, bro. You're him. You are him, bro. 60k a month salary, so for any team, you yourself would suck a to have that. I think we all thought a year. No, did this dude literally type 60k a month is nothing? He typed that. What's the largest salary you've heard of? In Valorant, probably just the Yay one that was rumored. That's about it. I don't think I've heard anything else, but I also don't know other regions' salaries. So CS, I have no idea. In CS, it's gotten very high though. I know that. But CS also has gambling sponsors. Every org has a big gambling sponsor directly involved with CS. You know, they have a ton of money coming in, so those orgs can afford it. Apparently Riot opened up gambling sponsors. That's my point. It's like orgs have to make money somehow, and that's one way to do it. So I assume that's probably why, is to like help the orgs keep their business sustained and like actually profitable to some degree. They are the same orgs that are Valorant orgs in some cases. Yes, but I'm speaking specifically about Valorant. Those orgs might have money, but they are not making money off Valorant that they are spending on Valorant. Does that make sense? Just because you have $1 billion that you made somewhere else doesn't mean, my point is completely different from that. If you put a ton of money into something specific and then you don't make the money back that you put in, you end up losing money because of that into that specific thing. What if they make it such a way where one app can sponsor only one org? What? Like a gambling thing? Or what? Can you make over 100k a year being a Valorant pro just from salary? A tier 1? Yes. A tier 2? I have no idea. A tier 2, I don't know what the tier 2 salaries are. I don't have a clue. I don't think they're bad though. I think at tier 2 you can as well, but for like the top teams. Anzera is saying he gets more than 5k a month from Envy, but he might be trolling. I think that's realistic. I think that's very realistic. I am not dropping the best contract I got. Why not? Because other people on my team will also be affected by that, because it's like a weird thing to like say publicly, and then it also like involves other people and my org. It's not like good information to give out. It doesn't help anybody. You're just curious. It doesn't help me at all. I've already given number ranges, chat. I've given plenty of number ranges, but the ranges are ridiculous. Like I'll literally be like, okay, it's between $5,000. What's the league minimum in VCT Americas? 5k. So I'll say it's between 5k and 65k, and then everyone in chat will go, oh, so you got 65k. See it's just the same every time. So I can't give you guys a range because you guys will assume the highest number I give is the number my salary was.